to welcome you to another episode of Shirleen's Biblical Kitchen. We are going to be making some zucchini bread today. I know zucchini's in abundance right now. People growing it in their gardens, and it just makes so much, and sometimes you don't know what to do with all of it. I have another video I'm going to produce on how to make zucchini flour and make zucchini bread with that. But today we're just going to make a whole grain zucchini bread, and I have fresh grated zucchini. I have a cup and a half, and I will post the ingredients list in this video. But I have a cup and a half I've grated and kind of mashed down to make a cup and a half. I'm not going to wring the water out or squeeze the water out or anything like that. I'm just going to leave it like that because this recipe really needs that moisture. We have two kinds of flour, and I have made this zucchini bread with just spelt flour, 100% whole grain. I would seal the grain, and then I would take just a little hand sifter. You can get these anywhere. Now they roll on the inside, and I sifted out. Maybe it was actually less than a tablespoon of bran out of a cup and a half. So that's not a lot of bran, but it lightened it up maybe just a tiny bit. So today we have with the spelt and einkorn, since I'm doing 50-50, I did mill the spelt, but I'm using an all-purpose einkorn. You could mill your einkorn. And again, we're going to sift just a little of this out. The einkorns already have, the AP einkorn already has 20% sifted out. So you don't really need to sift it, but I have them mixed in here, so I'm going to go ahead and sift both of them. We're not going to get much bran out. We're going to get just a little bit. And then we're going to use that. This is 190 grams. It's 190 grams if you do just the whole grain spelt, or if you do the spelt and einkorn, it's still 190 grams, or 3/4 cup of each. If you go by cups and you buy packaged flour, like for example the einkorn AP was packaged, you want to take it and really fluff it, because when you mill it, it's real fluffy. Grams are your best bet, always. But always fluff it up and then just scoop in and level it off, and make sure that flour is really fluffed up and get some air in it. You can get too much flour with packaged flour. That's why it's hard sometimes for people to take a recipe and make it with a whole grain, because if you go cup for cup and you've milled fresh, you might not have enough flour in that case, because this takes maybe 1/4 to 1/2 cup more because it is light and airy. Get you a little scale, go by grams. That's the easiest way. But we're going to take this and we're going to, I'm just going to do that in there. I'm just going to grind this. Instead of grinding it and getting it all over the plate, I like to just roll it back and forth. Just take it, roll it back, because otherwise it kind of wants to roll dust out. We don't want dust out. We just want to get a little out here. And we're not going to get much out because we're going to keep sifting. Now you can sift out. I've got big sifters. You can get 40, 50, and 60 grade. You can sift out 20%, 30%. You can just pretty much make pastry flour. We're not looking for pastry flour here. We're just looking to get a little bit of the bran out. There's maybe, I don't know what's left in there. I'd say about a tablespoon, not even a tablespoon. Maybe a 1/2 tablespoon. So I'll save that. I have a bag I keep it in. And I use it sometimes when I have an AP flour that I've used in something and I have some on hand. I'll put a little bran in there and make it a whole grain. So you can do things like that. We have our flour here sifted. We're going to add our dry ingredients. We have 2 tablespoons of something called tapioca starch, or tapioca flour, same thing. This really helps your whole grain breads and cookies. Just sometimes zucchini bread can be real crumbly. This will really help with that. You can use sunflower lecithin, which is really healthy, and I've used lots of it. I have used flax. Sometimes you can add some flax and some sunflower lecithin, but this works well, and I just wanted to show you how to use it. If you don't have the tapioca starch, you can use cornstarch. I'm not a big fan of cornstarch, but you can use that. We have a teaspoon of baking soda, and I've mashed all the little lumps out because it can be lumpy. We have a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and we have 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I'm just going to blend this together because you want that baking soda and that salt and cinnamon mixed in with your flours. Obviously you don't want a big bite of something with one of those in there. So a whisk is really good for that. I don't use a mixer with this. I just make it. It's about a 10-minute deal once you get your ingredients out. Zucchini bread's super easy to make. Zucchini's really healthy for us too. It has a lot of vitamin A, and it has fiber, and it has potassium, and just has a whole host of vitamins. You're getting the nutrition from the whole grain flours, but you're also getting a lot of nutrition from the zucchini. So it's a really healthy way to kind of sneak some vegetables into your kids' lunch boxes or snacks or whatever they're eating. I am making what they call little mini loaves today. 3 mini loaves will equal 1 big loaf. You can make a big loaf. You'll bake these at 350 either way, and you'll bake the mini loaves about 20. My oven takes about 25 minutes on 350. The big loaf is going to take 50 to 60, but either way you bake it, put a toothpick in the center and make sure it comes out clean, because that's the only way you're going to know when the center's done. If you're doing a big loaf and it starts to get a little too brown on the top, just put a piece of foil on it for the last 10 minutes. But that's why I like these. Plus these are just, I can give them to people. I can put them in the freezer. They're just perfect for it. Got this mixed now. That's our dry. We're going to mix our wet. Now we've got 2 beaten eggs, got a teaspoon of vanilla. We've got a 1/2 cup of softened melted coconut oil. Now this is not 100% melted, but it's pretty close to it. It's very warm, and so it's had a chance to soften. So you could melt it completely if you want to. This is going to be okay because it's very soft. We've got our wet ingredients. We'll mix those up just a little bit. And we're going to add our sugar. We got 3/4 cups of, I like to use cane sugar. You could use coconut sugar probably, or whatever kind of sugar you want. And we're going to add our zucchini in here last. And then I've got 1/2 cup of nuts and a 1/2 cup of chocolate chips. I'm going to put those in mine. You can put nuts, you can put chocolate chips, you can just make it plain. I've done it all ways. You can make it with cranberries. You can make it with pineapple. You can use any combination of those that you want. So zucchini bread is just a real versatile kind of bread to make. I just love it. Makes a delicious and nutritious snack. You know, our biblical ancestors had lots of vegetables in their diet and fruits, and they did bake things. They baked cakes, barley cakes, and all kinds of cakes. So they might have used some zucchini in their baking. I'm not sure, but it's possible. They didn't have the convenience of little handheld graters like we do, so I'm not quite sure how they would grate it up if they did. I grated mine by hand. If I had a lot, like when I'm making zucchini flour, then it's easier to use a grater with a handle on it or a food processor. We'll mix in that zucchini with the wet. And then it's just a matter of mixing the wet with the dry. And what I'm going to do when I get this mixed up, I'm going to let it set about 10 minutes. Whole grain flours need to set and soak up some of that bran. And there's still plenty of bran in here, even though we sifted. There's lots of bran left. And so you do want that to set about 10 minutes, and then while it sets, I'll preheat my oven to 350. So we're just going to mix the wet into the dry. See how easy that was? You could whip this up. I actually made some yesterday. I made 2 batches yesterday, 2 different ones. I was experimenting with, I did just the Spelt, and they were delicious. And then I did a different one with Spelt, with nuts. The first one didn't have any nuts. And so I was really experimenting to see different ways you could do zucchini bread. I think you could use a lot of different flour. And then I'm going to make that zucchini flour one for you too. But it's not all zucchini flour. It's just use that as part. But it's a very, very nutritious, gluten-free addition to your breads. You're taking some of the flour out. I don't know, I may go up to a 1/2 cup out and exchange it for the other, for the zucchini flour. But we'll see when I experiment with it. I experiment so you don't have to. I'll take all the experimenting on my end and tell you what works, at least what works for me. This is mixed up. I'm going to let this set about 10 minutes, and then we're going to bake it off. And I've already greased these, so they're sprayed and they're ready to go. Let's put our nuts in. Let's put our chocolate chips in. and just give it a little stir. You don't want to over stir zucchini bread or muffins or banana bread or any of that. Quick breads, you just stir them around. You don't want to whip them or beat them. Just stir them around with a spoon gently until the ingredients are incorporated. That's all you're looking for. Very gently. If you over mix them and beat them, you'll just make your breads tough, and that's not what you want. This is really good, moist, delicious zucchini bread. 10 minutes, we'll put them in our pan, and we'll be ready to bake. I have 2 of these little minis filled, and I'm going to do the last one. I fill these about 3/4 of the way full because I wanted to make nice little mini loaves. You could make them smaller, I suppose. You can also make muffin tops or muffins with this batter. It works really well too. You just have to adjust your cooking time, obviously, especially for muffin tops. I love muffin tops. I've got a couple of pans, and this is really good in muffin tops too. They are delicious. So I have quite a bit of batter left, so I'm going to fill them up a little bit more. Each one. And all this distributed, I'll put them in my preheated 350-degree oven. And bake them off about 25 minutes. Top it. If you have any left over, just make a muffin or a muffin top. There's still a little bit there, probably just enough for one muffin top.
Thousands of years ago, our ancestors ate grains that were very different from the grains that we eat today. They were more nutritious, easier to digest, and more sustainable to produce and grow. My name is Jade Coyle with Grand Teton Ancient Grains, and our family farm and mill is dedicated to restoring these ancient grains to the modern family table. We offer a wide variety of ancient grains. In fact, behind me here, you can see one of the fields we planted just a few days ago. But the grains that we grow here on our farm are grains like einkorn, emmer, spelt, khorasan, quinoa, rye, just to name some of them. And in the future videos here, we'll teach you and share with you more about how we grow these grains so that they are packed with nutrition and flavor. In the meantime, if you want to check us out, you can go to our website, ancientgrains.com, or check us out on social media under Ancient Grains Family.
We have our bread out of the oven, and it just smells wonderful in here. All the cinnamon and the einkorn. You know, this one I made yesterday, and it is the one made with just spelt. These are made with half spelt, half AP einkorn. I love the einkorn in here. I mean, personally, I like spelt, but when I mix it with einkorn or just use einkorn sometimes, it's just so much better as far as taste. Einkorn has a lot of flavor. I love einkorn, so this one to me is the best. I did a banana nut bread, I want to know, a year or 2 ago. It's on YouTube. It's an old video, but I did banana nut bread 3 ways. I did it with einkorn, I did it with spelt, and with white whole wheat, or with hard white whole wheat. And the einkorn just won hands down in my book. It was just me judging, but that was the best. I'm gonna cut just a little piece off of here. This is still warm, so I don't want to mess with it too much. There's that chocolate. Ooh, we added that chocolate in there. Yum, yum. Zucchini, nuts. And it's tender. I mean, this, when you add the tapioca, your bread's not going to fall apart. I used to try to make whole grain breads before I learned how to do that. And I would do sunflower lecithin, which works really well too. But the tapioca, or sometimes I use tiger nut flour, which is kind of like tapioca. And it's not a nut. But just the texture of your bread, and it doesn't crumble. It's just so much better. You've got to try this bread. You're going to love it. It's going to be a regular around your house if you like zucchini bread and all that zucchini you're getting out of your yard and from your neighbors. Make some up and freeze it. You can even dehydrate your zucchini. I'll show you that in the video. But you can dehydrate it and rehydrate it and make your bread with it too. or you make zucchini flour. But this is so good. I hope you'll join us on the next show, and I hope you'll make some wonderful zucchini whole grain bread.
We just finished our spring planting, so we're putting away our equipment for the rest of the summer, the planting equipment anyway. And I wanted to come back to you with a little bit more information about some of the things that we're doing here at our family farm and mill to help restore these ancient grains to the modern family table. Everything that you buy from us at our website, ancientgrains.com, everything is certified 100% organic. So not only are you getting the ancient grains, but you're getting all of the health and nutrition that comes because of our farming practices. We don't use any herbicides or pesticides or chemicals in any of our products that we grow. And in addition, we don't add anything to the flours that we produce. So you know it is as wholesome as it can be. So use this coupon when you go shop on our site. It's Bible10. That gives you 10% off anything at ancientgrains.com.